For 13 years, I lived unseen in a concrete-walled basement while my identical sisters grew up on flickering security monitors, born not as a daughter, but as a spare parts contingency, a hidden fourth child destined for organ harvesting, until, one night at 3 a.m., they shattered their bedroom window to expose our parents' multi-million-dollar insurance fraud and set me free. My parents told everyone they had triplets, but kept me hidden in the basement. As the fourth, a backup child for spare parts, I watched my identical sisters live their lives through security cameras for 13 years. While Mom drew my blood for compatibility tests when they tried to harvest my kidney for my sick sister, all three triplets helped me escape by shattering their bedroom window at 3 a.m., revealing to the neighbors that their parents had been claiming $2.8 million in insurance for triplets while hiding a fourth child as a living organ bank. My parents told everyone they had triplets. I was the fourth, the backup child they kept hidden in case something happened to the others. I lived in the basement, watching my sisters' lives through security cameras. They'd sneak down at night to bring me food and teach me what they learned at school. On our 13th birthday, when the others got cake upstairs, they brought me a single candle. "Make a wish to get out," they whispered. "But how do you escape when you don't officially exist?" The basement became my whole world the day we came home from the hospital. While my siblings got birth certificates, I got a storage room with a mattress. "Insurance covers 3 babies," Mom explained simply. 4 would bankrupt us. "But we're keeping you safe down here. Just in case." Just in case? I didn't understand. I watched my sisters grow up on a flickering monitor. First steps, first words, first day of school. They were labeled on the screen. Lily, camera 1, Emma, camera 2, Olivia, camera 3. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a name. Mom called me Spare when she remembered to bring food. The insurance papers were kept in a lockbox by my bed. I learned to read from those documents. Maximum coverage for triplet birth, $2.8 million. Quadruplet birth, $50,000 total. Beneath that, another line made my stomach twist. Rare blood type O negative, universal donor. Perfect match probability among identical siblings, 100%. My sisters discovered me by accident when we were 5. They'd been playing hide and seek when Emma found the basement door. 3 identical faces stared at me through the crack. "Are you our ghost?" Lily whispered. That night, and every night after, they crept down with whatever they could steal from dinner. Olivia taught me to read better. Emma showed me math. Lily brought her drawings and taped them to my walls. "Why don't you live upstairs?" they asked. "Because I'm the emergency one," I repeated what I'd been told. They didn't understand. Neither did I, really, until Olivia got sick. She was 8 when the doctors discovered kidney problems. I watched on the monitors as our parents paced the living room. "We have options," Mom said. "We've been smart. We've been prepared." That night, my sisters didn't come down. I could see them on the screens, huddled in their room, crying. The next morning, Dad came to the basement with a medical kit. "Just some tests," he said. The needle hurt as 6 blood vials filled. One by one. Then he checked my eyes, my reflexes, pressed on my stomach where my kidneys rested. "Perfect," he muttered. "Absolutely perfect." Olivia got better with medication. After that, the basement door locked from the outside, and my sisters began leaving notes under the door. "We're trying to find a way. We won't let them hurt you. You're our sister, not spare parts." Years passed in that room. I exercised to stay healthy, had to keep my spare parts in good condition. I studied from old textbooks they smuggled down. I watched them go to school, make friends, live their lives. Every birthday, 3 candles upstairs, 1 candle downstairs. Same wish every year. When we turned 12, Emma broke her arm so badly the bone pierced the skin. On the monitor, I watched our parents exchange looks. Dad's hand went to his pocket, where he kept the basement key. "No," I whispered to the empty room. "Please, no." But Emma healed cleanly. The key stayed in his pocket. The worst part wasn't isolation or scraps or concrete. It was watching life through a screen, knowing I existed only as insurance, a ghost child waiting to be harvested. They tried to tell someone once. Lily broke down to her teacher about her other sister. The school called our parents that night. I watched Mom explain Lily's imaginary quadruplet as a trauma response. So creative, so troubled, and therapy was recommended. The basement door's lock was upgraded to digital. On our 13th birthday, I sat in the dark, listening to the party upstairs, laughter, music, voices of kids I'd never meet. At midnight, my sisters snuck down with a cupcake and one candle in the darkness. "Make a wish," they said, tears streaming down 3 identical faces. "Wish to get out. We're going to help you. We promise." I closed my eyes, blew out the candle, and wished to exist. But morning came, and I was still in the basement, still watching life through grainy screens, still the emergency child, the spare parts, the ghost only 3 people knew was real. Mom came down that afternoon, with her medical kit again. More tests, more vials. "Just checking everything's working properly," she said. "Can never be too prepared." She paused at the door, looking back at me. "You know you're loved, right? We kept you. We could have given you away. But we kept you, that's love." The door locked behind her, the red light blinked. In that moment, I knew I had a decision to make. One that would change not just my life, but my sisters' lives forever. I started small. Every time Mom or Dad came down for tests, I memorized their routines. Dad checked his phone exactly 3 times each visit. Mom hummed the same tune while drawing blood. They were creatures of habit, and habits could be exploited. The cameras became my teachers. Dad left for work at 7:43 a.m. and returned at 6:17 p.m. Mom grocery shopped on Tuesdays and had book club on Thursdays. They fought about money on the 15th of each month when bills came due. My sisters noticed the change first. During nightly visits, they found me doing push-ups, sit-ups, running, in place. I had to stay strong, not just as spare parts, but as someone who could fight back. They smuggled a notebook under the door. We developed a code. 1 tap on the pipes meant parents awake, 2 taps meant all clear, 3 meant emergency. The notebook became our planning document, passed back and forth. I drew diagrams of the house from memory and camera angles, marked exit points and hiding spots, blind zones where cameras couldn't see. My sisters filled in details, which floorboards creaked, which windows opened silently, where Dad kept his keys. The first real test came 3 weeks later. Olivia had a swim meet on Saturday. Both parents would attend, leaving from noon to 4 p.m. 4 hours of opportunity. I'd practiced picking the digital lock with hairpins Emma smuggled down. That morning, I watched them leave on the monitors and counted to 300 to make sure they really were gone. Then I worked the lock. Hands shaking, muscle memory took over. Click, click. The red light turned green. The door opened for the first time in 5 years without an adult present. The basement stairs looked impossibly tall. I climbed them slowly, legs trembling from more than exertion. At the top, another door, this one unlocked. I pushed it open and stepped into a kitchen I'd only seen through screens. Everything was wrong. The proportions, the colors, the smells. Real life didn't match grainy footage. I touched the counter, the refrigerator, a chair, solid, real. Proof I wasn't dreaming. I wanted to explore, but time was limited. I found Dad's study, searched his desk, insurance papers, medical records, bank statements, and photographed everything with an old digital camera Emma had hidden months ago. Evidence, proof I existed. In Mom's closet, I found a box labeled Baby Memories, 3 hospital bracelets, 3 birth certificates, 3 sets of footprints. Nothing for a 4th child, until I found 1 more bracelet wrapped in tissue. Baby girl D. Same date and time plus 3 minutes. I existed. I had proof. The garage door rumbled. Panic flooded my veins. I ran. Back through the house, staying low beneath motion sensors. The basement door was still open. I slammed it behind me, but from inside the code wouldn't engage. The red light blinked. I'd practiced opening it, not closing it. I yanked open the ventilation grate and squeezed inside, pulling it closed behind me. Metal edges cut my shoulders as I forced myself deeper. Mom's car pulled into the driveway 2 minutes later. I watched her on the monitors. She moved through. Her routine, oblivious. But Emma knew. During dinner, she kept glancing at the basement door. That night, she slipped me a note. They came home because Emma called them, said she felt sick. We bought you time. My sisters had created a distraction. They were learning conspiracy. Over the weeks, we refined our system. Lily started Saturday art classes, another window. Emma joined debate club after school. Olivia volunteered at the hospital, bringing bandages and antiseptic. I practiced escaping through vents. Narrow, but my years of limited food kept me small. I mapped every turn, every junction, timed how long it took to reach different rooms. I learned to remove grates silently. Mom grew suspicious. She started random checks, strange questions. Do you ever think about leaving? Do you know why you're special? I kept my face blank. I'm safe here. I understand. That night, she installed a new camera in my room, hid the monitor in her closet. Something deeply unsettling about how matter-of-factly she treated me as spare parts, justifying horror to herself. My sisters grew bolder, talking loudly about their imaginary sister at school, drawing pictures of 4 girls. The school counselor called another meeting. This time, all 3 went and told the same story. A sister in the basement, parents who lied, a girl who existed only as spare parts. The counselor diagnosed shared delusion and trauma bonding, recommended family therapy. My parents declined, we'll handle it at home, and then divided us. Lily to the guest room, Emma and Olivia forbidden from spending time together unsupervised. But identical souls adapt. Notes grew more elaborate. Lily painted hidden messages. Emma encoded plans in math problems. Olivia printed patient rights documents on the library computer. I studied every page. Knowledge became ammunition. Through the cameras, I learned Dad's business was failing. Mom's book club was a wine club. They fought about money more. Their desperation made them vulnerable. Then Emma got sick. Not a broken arm, truly sick. Fever, unrelenting, swollen joints. At 3:00 a.m., I watched them rush her to the hospital. That dawn, Dad carried the medical kit. Mom brought consent forms. Just a precaution, she said. You understand, right? She's your sister. My heart cracked. I understood that my existence had always been about this moment, spare parts fulfilling purpose or letting a sister suffer. They ran more tests than ever. Emma's illness turned out autoimmune, treatable, not transplant-worthy, but testing. Continued. Better safe than sorry, Mom said. My sister's anger transformed into strategy. They started planning for war, smuggled pics in paint tubes, wire cutters in textbooks, medical supplies from Olivia's volunteering. We practiced ventilation escapes. I broke into mental first aid kits, bandages, antiseptic stashed in backpacks. A Thursday, Dad left for a business trip, 13 hours away. Mom would be gone Saturday from 9 pause to 5 for a fundraiser, 16 hours of chance. We spent the week preparing. Strengthened my fingers, memorized sensor patterns, timed everybody's routines. Thursday dawned. Dad waved goodbye at 5:47 a.m. Mom followed at 6:15 a.m. Breakfast, tests, admonitions, to be good. The basement door beeped locked. I counted to 500, then began. Hairpins, practiced lock, click click, green light. The door swung open silently on hinges. I convinced Mom needed oiling. I ducked under motion sensors and into the house I'd only seen through screens. The kitchen glowed. In daylight. Sunlight streamed through windows. Warmth on my skin. I wanted to stand in that light, but time pressed. I found Mom's purse. Her car keys jingled. In Dad's study, I grabbed the evidence photos. In Mom's closet, I found 4 identical baby outfits. Proof she'd always planned for me. A car. Door slammed outside. My heart nearly stopped. I scrambled through the house back to the basement. But Mom's motion sensors, her new cameras. The basement door was unlocked. I slammed it, but the lock wouldn't engage. The red light blinked. I yanked open a vent and squeezed into the ducts just as Mom's heels clicked in the kitchen. Through the grate, I saw her face go pale. She spun and ran upstairs, then returned with tools, drill, brackets, methodically securing every grate in the basement, sealing me into the walls. Hours passed in the metal tomb. My shoulders cramped, breathing shallow. Dust coated my throat. I watched her hum her blood draw tune as she drilled. When she finished, she stood in my room's center and spoke into the ceiling. She'd always known this day would come, that brackets were temporary until Dad returned, then they'd extract me properly, without damage to the merchandise. She left water bottles and energy bars on my mattress, a gesture of kindness she called proof of love, and went upstairs to wait. Through the ducts, I heard my sisters return. Normal conversation, no hint of the drama below. Night fell. The metal grew cold. My body screamed, but I waited and planned. Around midnight, I heard soft scratching. A bracket loosened, a grate lifted. Olivia's face appeared in the vent, tears streaming. She guided me up into the laundry room, helped me clean the cuts from metal edges. Emma's keeping watch. Lily created a distraction by faking sickness early, so Mom checked on her instead of the basement. But we couldn't leave. Mom activated the security system, doors and windows armed, code changed. We were trapped until morning. Olivia led me to their room where Emma and Lily waited, faces pale but determined. We huddled, 4 identical girls, planning in whispers, money saved, a backpack of supplies, emergency contacts. The plan was to run together when Mom opened the door at dawn, get to a neighbor's house, call for help, but plans rarely survive first contact with reality. At 3 a.m., Mom opened the door not for dawn, but for confrontation. Silhouetted, in the hallway light, she held the medical kit. Her eyes found me immediately. No words needed. Come willingly, or watch your sisters suffer. I started to stand. Emma grabbed my arm, Lily blocked my path. Olivia stepped between me and our mother, 3 identical shields of determination. Mom's expression shifted, surprise, anger, fear. She hadn't expected unified resistance. 1 disobedient daughter was manageable. 4 was a crisis. She tried reasoning about family loyalty, sacrifices, love requiring difficult choices. My sisters didn't budge. The standoff stretched until Mom's phone buzzed. Dad texting from his hotel. Distracted, Mom glanced at the screen, and in that instant, Emma lunged for the medical kit, sending it clattering to the floor. Chaos erupted. Mom lunged at Emma. Lily pushed her back. Olivia pulled me toward the broken window. The security alarm screeched as Olivia smashed the glass with a lamp. Motion lights flooded the yard. Dogs barked. The outside world intruded on our secret. Mom froze, seeing 4 identical girls barefoot in the backyard at 3 a.m. 1 dusty, 1 bleeding, 1 who'd lived in walls. Neighbors gathered. Mr. Dunn stepped onto his porch. "Everything's fine," Mom called, forcing a strained wave. "Just a small accident. Sorry for the noise." But 4 identical girls in the yard defied explanation. Mom realized her story crumbling. She made one last plea. "Come back inside, all of us together." My sisters formed a resolute wall. Mom lowered her arms, walked back to the house, defeated or strategic, I couldn't tell. We spent the night at Mr. Dunn's house. He offered blankets and hot chocolate. His wife fussed over my injuries. We watched through the window as Mom served dinner to my sisters, tucked them in. The perfect mother. Dawn brought Dad's early return at 6 a.m. Mom must have called him. Through Mr. Dunn's window, we watched our parents argue on the lawn. Dad's gestures were angry, Mom's pleading. Then Dad spotted us watching. His face went from shock to grief. He moved toward Mr. Dunn's, but Mom caught his arm, and they, retreated inside. Moments later, a woman in a suit arrived. The Child Protective Services agent. Reports the girls filed had triggered an investigation. 4 identical children, 1 undocumented, medical tests without consent, educational neglect. Our house became a crime scene. Investigators carried out evidence from the basement. First, they brought me to the hospital, 13 years of basement living left its mark. Vitamin deficiencies, muscle weakness, dental problems, all treatable. My sisters took turns holding my hand, translating medical jargon, reminding me I was real. Over the following months, birth certificates were issued, custody hearings held, criminal charges filed. Sitting in a hospital bed, sunlight streaming, through windows, surrounded by sisters who risked everything for me, I realized I existed not as insurance, but as a person with rights, choices, and a future. The legal proceedings continued. Mom and Dad pled guilty to fraud, child endangerment, and unlawful imprisonment. Restitution funds from the insurance fraud formed a trust for our education. We moved to a therapeutic foster home that welcomed sibling groups. 4 bedrooms in an east wing of a converted farmhouse, foster parents experienced in trauma cases. They gave us space to adjust, time to learn how to live with choices. School was challenging. We tutored, caught up on missing years, filled gaps. Physical therapy rebuilt my body, counseling healed my mind. Our first Christmas free of locks, 4 identical ornaments on the tree. Gifts exchanged equally. Ordinary. Moments felt revolutionary. Spring brought birthdays, GED tests, high school graduations. We found colleges and majors. The trust fund, our parents' crime inadvertently funding our futures. On our 18th birthday, we signed leases for an apartment near community college. 4 bedrooms, no basement, windows that opened wide, security for safety, not imprisonment. We furnished it, painting walls, choosing furniture, each decision our own. The first day of classes, I sat in a crowded lecture hall, anonymous in the best way. Afterward, we met for lunch in the cafeteria, visible to everyone, no longer divided by floors and locks. My sisters spoke of engineering, art history, and pre-med requirements. I prepared for community college, choosing classes for a future I'd fought to claim. That night, I typed a personal essay on overcoming challenges. I spent 13 years preparing for a life I wasn't supposed to have. The words flowed, testimony that survival takes many forms, that families can be prisons and love can be locks, and that simply existing can be an act of rebellion. As midnight approached, I saved the document, closed my laptop, and opened the window to let in the night air. City lights twinkled with possibility. No cameras watched, no locks confined me. I set my alarm for morning classes and fell asleep listening to my sisters breathing in nearby rooms. No longer spare parts, but whole people choosing freedom every day.